buckle up. I never need to sleep again. And she said that like she had said that a million times. It's being written about everywhere. Fortune, Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, Fast Company. The Harvard Business Review did an entire issue on work-life balance. And I don't agree with anything that is being written on this topic today. What are we expressing about our situation in our lives when we use the word burnout? This is what I think we're really saying. Man, I've been working so hard for the past 2 or 3 years. It's not that you stop working when you're burned out. Man, I'm working so hard. Just nothing seems to be getting any better. It's the absence of the excitement that comes from improvement. So if we understand the real feeling of burnout, I actually don't believe it's a bad feeling.
You don't think burnout has benefits to it, but when you think about what it's inspired in us, right? It's your body and your mind's way of saying it's time for you to learn something new, acquire a new skill, gain a new experience, set a goal and achieve it. It's time for progress, for movement, for advancement in your life. It's time for momentum.
They're bringing in a motivational speaker. Oh, see, you know I didn't know. But I can't because my shoe's not tied. Shoe! Shoe! How's that for a goal, go boy? And you're like, oh, God. Adrenaline, endorphins, oh! You're like, oh, I'm getting credit. I'm getting my credit.
You won't even get a thank you note.
See, if you are somebody that makes the people around you better at what they do because you exist, you've just doubled and tripled the value of what you bring to work. And you can't be happy for other people, root them on, take their talents, gifts, skills, and abilities, and get them to shine at the highest levels when all you're doing is competing against them every day. See, the first job we all have when it comes to leadership is to lead ourselves. It is the most overlooked core competency of leadership. And then we root people on in our relationships. When we root people on, do you know what gets built? Trust. When your confidence that I got your back, that I'm rooting you on is there, do you know what we now can do? We can face the customer and not worry about our back. And now we can work on the quality of what we do, listen to the customer, go back and work on what the customer needs from us where we need to get better. We can work on the speed with which we work. How do we save the customer more and more time? And how do we reduce our costs so that we're the best value in the marketplace for the money the customer is paying us? That's leadership. The more your business spends on that third circle, quality, speed, and reducing costs and creating value, the more you're leading your organization. And it's a challenge we all have, and I believe it starts with the core competency of leading ourselves first.
I've had the opportunity to hear Steve speak 3 different times, and every single time I walk away with great ideas, a lot of energy, and things that I want to apply to both my personal and my professional life.
I think Steve's presentation was very eye-opening. I think it helped me realize a lot of things that I don't do on a daily basis that I probably should do that would help increase my productivity.
As COO, it's always difficult to get the whole operations team to be on the same page as relates to innovation and learning and time management. Steve does a great job, and everybody came away learning some great tips and tools on how to do that effectively.
The thing about Steve is it's not just you're learning life lessons. I mean, you're really learning life lessons.
So you've planned the perfect day. You have your calendar set for the day. You've created your to-do list of things you're going to do when you're not in your meetings. And then someone stops by and says, hey, Steve, do you got a second? There goes your whole day. Reading some of these answers because they really are inspirational. There are 2 emotions that help us to do these 2 things, desire and fear, right? I desire a benefit. We could prioritize them based on deadlines, and the question that would go with that is, when's it due? Tomorrow. Very easily pushed off till tomorrow. So I nickname these decisions the things you don't have to do today. Why aren't we spending more time in this category? Okay, the problem resides in the pattern your brain uses to make decisions. There are decisions that find you, and there's decisions that you go find. And we're just looking at how much time you spend in these 2 categories. Because when you create a to-do list,
Every task on that list falls into one of two categories: to move towards a benefit or to prevent a consequence. It might be a mix of the two, but these two motivations are behind every decision you make. Welcome, everyone. I have 3 presentations for you guys. It has been 10 years that I've been working with the Ravens. Also work with a lot of teams in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and hockey as well. I've been doing this for 20 years. Also work with companies like Google and Disney and Under Armour and John Deere and Campbell Soup and Subaru and all the clients that you guys are selling to for your sweet boxes and premium sales. They're my clients as well.
Please welcome my brother from another mother, Steve McClatchy.
So help me welcome Steve McClatchy to the stage.
Steve McClatchy.
Great job. Good job. Thank you so much. One was down. We're even. Oh no, you did it! Deadline, consequences, fear, adrenaline, painkillers, woo! Energy to do the task. The problem with that pattern is it deletes everything in your life that doesn't have a deadline and consequences. See, it only works if the task has a deadline and a consequence that will scare you enough to release adrenaline. So what decisions get deleted from your business and your life when you procrastinate? The benefits, the gain decisions, the things that restore balance, the things that produce all the results. Because of this device, you can be busy all the time. Every second you're not asleep, you can be working or busy. So it's become a relevant topic again that the have-tos can fill the whole day. And we've all experienced weeks that go by or months that go by and we wonder what we accomplished. What is leadership? It's when you take your life, your relationships, and your business, and you lead them forward. You improve them. You make them better than they are today. What's management? You keep them where they are today. So my one-word definition of leadership, my one-word definition of management. Remember, my passion in life is simplification. What's leadership? It's improvement. What's management? It's maintenance. What's mismanagement? You made it worse. See, if these were our definitions, and there are so many different definitions of leadership, right? But these are my definitions. And what I love about these definitions are 2 things. One, if our definition of leadership was improvement, then it would no longer be a title. It would no longer be a position or a seat that you sit in. Leadership is now a result you produce. And I would also love this about this definition. You would never arrive at leadership. It would be continuous, ongoing, never-ending improvement. That's what leadership would be. Hey, I made things better. Oh my gosh, that's great, that's leadership. Now make things even better. Hey, great news, I made things even better. Oh man, that's more leadership, fantastic. Now make things even better. Okay, this is exhausting. It is. Leadership is absolutely exhausting, but I have some great news. It's really exciting. Why? Things are getting better. You're not hoping they get better. Things are really getting better, and excitement naturally follows improvement.
I'm Steve McClatchy, and I'm with
the Best of the Last 2019!
Why do children have more time than you? They delegate. Yeah. You want to get better at delegation? Watch a child. They don't even think about it. They're like, hey, I'm getting hungry. I'm hungry right now. What are you going to do about it? If you put food in front of me, I might eat it this time.
Today's conversation here on Inside Story is going to be about the state of our mental health during this pandemic. These are really trying times. We're going to talk about what we can do to help ourselves and what we can do to help others. And Steve McClatchy of Malvern, who is the president of Lear Training and Consulting. He's a motivational speaker and the author of the book Decide, which is about how changing the way you make decisions can change your life. I heard this a couple of times coming from some people I really respect, and it's this. I'm not so much worried about what we're going to do to other people in this crisis. I'm worried about what we're going to do to ourselves. I want to start with Steve. What are you worried about as we go through this pandemic, Steve?
The number one way we identify ourselves is when we face and step up to challenging work. When we work on our goals, that progress and that movement forward is really where we get our self-identity, self-worth, and self-esteem. So I am encouraging a lot of people to pull out those goals and start working on them.
What frustrates you when you see people making the wrong decisions during this pandemic, and what wrong decisions are people making in your eyes?
The sensitivity we have, Matt, to fear, right, is so great. And in the field of psychology, they call it the negativity bias, that negative information affects us a lot greater than positive information does. Well, we have a lot of negative coming at us right now. And what we need to do is balance that with the positive. That's why working on our goals, feeling a sense of accomplishment, attacking work, setting a plan for the day, this gives us a purpose as we go through the day. But if we're just checking the news, checking the stock market, and hearing bad thing after bad thing, it can really weigh on our mental health.
Steve McClatchy, do you have any thoughts about parents talking to children? How honest, how brutally honest do people need to be?
Yeah, I guess that depends on the age of the child and what they're capable of hearing, but understanding the structure that they need, the predictability that they need, that creates a sense of security that there's lots of things in this world that are changing right now. But what we need to assure kids is there's lots of things that will never change. And when we can assure them of that, we can create the predictability of that. I think that gives them a comfort zone that we can handle these kinds of things, because this won't be the last time. Hurricanes come, snowstorms, things that create that uncertainty and doubt. And we're teaching these kids by example, how do you step up and approach these things? How do we approach these things as a family? And I think that there's lessons in that they can take with them throughout their lives.
What do you think about that, Steve? Coming out of your shell, crying in front of other people when you're trying to still be positive.
There's a certain amount of empathy and compassion we have to have for that, and understanding. Just being able to connect with people on that level is a very bonding experience. You don't always have to have the right thing to say. When we can just empathize that, yeah, I feel just as uncertain. I feel the same way. I know how frustrating this is. Can help a lot. Just as, we have a need as human beings, and that need is to be understood. And we have emotions that we can't share that aren't understood. That can be frustrating and distancing emotionally. I mean, we have to stay apart physically, but we don't have to do it emotionally. And just being able to connect with that person, because I've had people do this to me recently, and just being with them, just being there, saying, I know, this is crazy. It's so frustrating. We don't know when this is going to end. It will end. And then I turn the conversation into leading it, right? So once you empathize with it and you have compassion for it, you lead it in the direction of, this is going to end. And on the other side of this, there's going to be our goals and things we can control and things we can get back to and normalcy. So knowing it's not permanent can help them as well. It helps us too to understand that. So yeah, there's a lot that we're sharing with each other. And if somebody's sharing a lot with you, I say just be there and empathize with it, understand what they're going through. And I think that can help them a lot. And it'll help you as well.
Steve McClatchy, how many times have you had to count to 10?
There's 6 of us in this house, and we're doing pretty good.
What would your advice be? It is okay to have super frustrating moments. Normally, we spend most of our time with our colleagues at work.
I mentioned in the beginning of this that we have a negativity bias, and we're so much more sensitive to negative. And, we're constantly scanning for perfection. And when we see imperfection, we can jump all over it, and when we're with people all the time, that can be a tendency. And, my next book, Matt, is on the topic of maturity and relationships. And that maturity comes with understanding there's strengths, there's weaknesses. People do have idiosyncrasies and shortcomings and flaws. And they also have strengths and endearing qualities. And the challenge when you're with somebody all the time is focusing on, drawing out, highlighting those strengths and the best parts of those personalities. And if we're all doing that for each other and not jumping on each and every flaw or weakness. It really builds relationships. It builds confidence. It builds trust in each other, that we're safe with each other. We don't have to be perfect all the time.
That's Inside Story for this week.